I would spend hours listening to music in front of the mirror, in my mother's pearls, in her fake pearls. I didn't care what they were. I wasn't a little girl in that mirror. I was Whitney Houston in The Bodyguard. I was Gloria Estefan on stage. I was whoever I wanted to be. I got discovered singing in a store, in a little boutique where we grew up. There were these two guys that worked at the store. They loved fashion and music, and they loved talking about theater, and I became friends with them because I went into the store one day with my mom. I would go and hang out for hours after school. My mom would say, "Where the f are you?" One day I started singing, and one of them said, "Do you have a very nice voice?" I said, "Thank you." He said, "My uncle is a voice teacher. I'll give you his phone number." So I said, "Okay." And I had a classical voice teacher at one point, but I'd never studied anything else. And he said he teaches pop rock vocals. I thought, oh, well, that could be really great because I love like musicals. So I called Don Lawrence, and he listed off all the people that he has worked with. And they included Mick Jagger, Bono, and Christina Aguilera. My heart sank. He was on speaker, and my mother was sitting next to me. I remember we were holding hands, and she just went like this. She started squeezing my hand. So I went in to meet Don, and I sang a song for him. There was an E flat in the song, like a really high belty note, and I hit the note at the end, and I was really proud. And I didn't hit it very well. Little did I know that I hadn't hit it very well. But it wasn't until I started to work with him that my voice really started to grow and change. And he looked at me one day and he said, "You're a pianist." I said, "Yeah." He says, "I can tell." He said, "Because, you know, the way you understand the scales when we're working, you just really understand what I'm doing." And he said, "You always can tell when I screw up." And he didn't screw up very often, but if there was ever a little sour note, I would. And to me, it was like, yeah, I know. But to him, it was, "You're a musician." And I was 13. He said to me, and these were the words that changed my life, Don Lawrence. He looked at me and he said, "Have you ever thought about writing music?" I said, "Well, when I was young, you know, I would notate strange things on my Mickey Mouse staff paper, and I've written poetry, but I've never really written a song." He said, "I think you should write a song. I think you would be good at writing songs." And I said, "Okay." Just a few weeks later, I was in the car with my dad and my mom. We were driving back from seeing my grandma, and I had my headphones on, and I was singing my pants off in the car. Probably not very well because I had the headphones on, you can't hear. My dad said, "Hey kid, you're not on stage yet." And I burst into tears, and I started screaming, and my mother was like, "What is going on with you?" And we drove to the front of my parents' place. My dad was driving the car back to the garage, you know, because it's New York, so you got to drive it to the garage 10 blocks away and then walk home. Pain in the ass. My dad was always gone for about 15 minutes. By the time he'd gotten home, I'd written my first song. It was called "To Love Again."
What's that song about?
The song is about being in love and then losing it with someone, and then saying we can find what made us fall in love in the first place. And in hindsight, I'm like, what the was I talking about? I was 13. What the hell did I know about love? But I think it was my innocence. You know, of course, my first song had to be some giant, dramatic power ballad.